If we don't invest in the peace in Afghanistan, none of us will be safe. It doesn't matter if we are in America or in Europe or anywhere in the world. We have to do something today before it's getting late. The majority of the Afghans tired of the war, but they didn't know how to make a peace. We have to help them.
The concept, the Bridge think tank that Marty evolved, and I was involved with her in developing a business plan for this concept, employing Monterey Institute of International Studies students to help construct a way that she could create this and get her message across and generate programs and activities that would focus on a message of peace and sustainability for the world.
The National Peace Academy, and I'm going to focus just for a moment on those two of those words, well, all three of them, National Peace Academy, and why those are very carefully chosen words. Academy, for one, on education. We're talking about a cultural change from a culture of violence to a culture of peace. And the only way, you can't do this through legislation. Government can help, government can set up an infrastructure to help that happen, but it has to come from the hearts and minds, if you will, of people, and changing the way we see the world. And education is a critical way to do that.
I brought a quote today to read, which has really touched my life in the last couple of years, and probably many, many, many people's lives over the centuries, but it's from Black Elk. And he says, "The first peace, which is the most important, is that which comes within the souls of people when they realize their relationship, their oneness with the universe and all of its powers. And when they realize that at the center of the universe dwells Wakan Tanka, the Great Spirit, and that this center is really everywhere, that it's within each and every one of us. This is the real peace, and the others are but reflections of this. The second peace is that which is made between two individuals, and the third is that which is made between two nations. But above all, you should understand that there can never be peace between nations until there is known that true peace, which is, as I have often said, within the souls of men." And of course, today we would say men and women, and the animals and the plants. So what brings me here today is how can we, living here in one of the most privileged nations on the planet, have conversations that lead us to places where we can not only affect what happens in Afghanistan, but many, many other places all over the world, in a way that not only gives of what we have to give, but brings us life and vitality and energy to continue doing the work that all of us are here to do. So that's a question that I'm learning. Thank you.
And I've always been interested in learning about different cultures. And to me, that is really where peace begins, is being open to learning from people, not only listening to or reading maybe what we hear in the media or what we see in the media or see on TV, but actually sitting down and having conversations with people who have experiences and can teach us what things are really like in their countries. So it's an honor for me to be here, Marty, and to be here with all of you and to learn from you.
But I think it's a reflection of our cultural growth that's happening. And it's slow and tedious, but words that we were starting to use are now showing up in the congressional record and in potential bills and foreign policy papers. And so there is this transformation that's happening, and it gives me great hope that we can transform a culture. And if we can transform this culture in this country, there's hope that we can transform all cultures. Because I often talk about our government and our country as the Titanic. It's kind of has huge momentum, and there's all this stuff in it, and it's going down, and the iceberg is coming. And the question is, are we going to be able to take that trim tab and trajectory slightly to one side? it doesn't take much at the beginning in a trim tab, but it changes history in the end. So I think the work that we do here today could be transformational. And certainly, in the words of a friend of ours, Dan Jones, could bend history. And I think that's what you bend history one step at a time. So I'm real pleased to be here and to be maybe in one of those one steps, particularly for the country of Afghanistan.
I'm here teaching in the DLI, and this time teaching soldiers and officers in the army who will participate, probably who will be maybe in Afghanistan or in Iraq. So I look into myself, I'm all over, and the concern of peace is all over me. And I think this is the concern of everybody here. This is the dream of for all of us. And I think the contribution of peace is true academically, there could be institutions, but the deeper institution is the commitment of everybody. And I think peace is lived by individuals and is motivated by individuals. And history tells us all of the great people are individuals. They created the peace and they made it happen.
How do we think of ourselves as effective advocates for other communities? How do we go into those communities? How do we leave those communities? What does it mean to even say that we've decided that a community needs a particular kind of help? We do this work all the time on campus. Our service learning curriculum is steeped in this notion of how it is that you respectfully enter and exit communities, always stuck in that dilemma that you can exit.
CSUMB, I think, could be and is uniquely positioned, and that if we just pool our efforts and start coordinating very seriously, we can really make some big changes and not all be reinventing the wheel and working only in our separate spheres.
If I want to define peace, I just say, think of the weather we need to breathe, the oxygen. Think of the food we need to have for maintaining our body. And think of the water we need to drink for being alive. Peace is that thing. And it's as much important as the other things that we need to live by. So, here's the thing. We all want peace. And we want to do something for peace. But we need to be connected to each other. And we need to start from somewhere. We need to begin it. And I think this is what Marty has done. We are all here today to discuss about how to start talking about peace in Afghanistan, bringing this concept for Afghanistan and make it a reality for Afghanistan. Thinking of the number of people who died from poverty, from lack of food, from hunger, and from also those people who died from lack of peace and war in their countries. Just think about it. Most of the people in the universe die from lack of peace, but not from lack of food, and not from lack of poverty. We have been doing peace for Afghanistan since our childhood, and we want to make it reality.
This is the beginning of this conversation.